panelists, and then I'll take across some of the viewers as well. So today joining us on the show, we have Lloyd Mathias, a business executive and an independent director. Also, Dr. Sudhir Krishna is joining us, a former Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development. Before I come to you, Mr. Krishna, let me go, Dr. Krishna, I'll go across to Lloyd Mathias. Lloyd Mathias, if you can explain to us, is it true that in a situation like we have seen this time around in Uttar Pradesh, you cannot possibly sue the intermediary? Because at the end of it, they are only using publicly available data. They can always go to court and say, we did not know that that bridge had actually collapsed a few months back.
Thank you for having me on your show, Meghna. It's sad, but it's true that technically there will be no grounds for suing Google Maps or any GPS operator for that matter, because as they say in the fine print, the legal disclaimers are very clear that since they're intermediaries and they're actually purveying and they're playing off publicly available data, in this case, let's say maps that are available in the public domain, they are not liable to people misusing it. Having said which, I think if one was to look at the fact that this is truly a tragedy and lives like getting lost are never easy and never good, I think the two biggest culpability, I think the first clearly is on the local administration. To have a half-built flyover not blocked out for any access, pedestrian or specifically vehicular, I think is absolutely unpardonable, right? So the local administration, even if there was work going on, had to make sure that the road access was blanked out. And two, I think there ought to have been any other secondary way where it could kind of prevent people, miscreants, anyone actually having access to an unfinished road. So I think that's where the singular problem lies, in my opinion.
Well, in fact, let me quickly go across to Dr. Sudhir Krishna also. He's, after all, someone who has worked very closely in the Urban Development Ministry as well. Dr. Krishna, there should have been signages, and that is completely unpardonable, isn't it? Even if you are following maps, the question is, why wasn't that bridge completely cordoned off?
Absolutely. I think this is not the only reason. I mean, cordoning off is one aspect, and bridges should have lighting also. If the bridges have to have lighting as per rules.
Yes.
And which is not in use, or any road which is not should to be used has to be completely cordoned off. And also there should be signages also. These are all as per the Indian Road Congress mandate, I am telling. It is not that it is a personal prescription. And there has to be signages. The signages should have fluorescent light also, in the sense that in the night you should be able to understand. The signages should be in different languages also. The languages which travelers normally, people of which linguistic requirement use it. At least Hindi and English is mandatory. And that should be like that also. And I don't think the GPS will show normally. And your colleague also, the reporter also was showing that the GPS is not showing the map. So apparently the road must have been there and the people traveled there because there are no barricade, no signage, no lights at all. And it was night. So it has happened. In fact, much worse things have happened in Morbi and in Faridabad. We all recollect, where the things were. Yes, here I don't think the GPS company is really liable. It is squarely the responsibility of the road agency. In fact, bridges have to be inspected regularly as per the bridge code, as per the Indian Road Congress, and as per so many guidelines of Ministry of Road Transport.
Absolutely.
Every bridge has to be inspected. So many, if the people do not follow the
guidelines are there. The guidelines are there. And as Dr. Krishna points out, the guidelines are there. But it's not being followed and it is not being enforced by the authorities on the ground. That's probably one of the problems. Let me go across to some of our callers. Captain Jaspal is calling us. Dr. Rakesh, Purushottam, Mohan, and several other of our viewers are here with us. Let me go across to Captain Jaspal, our viewer calling us from Rohtak. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening to your elite panel. You see, whenever there is a apathy of this nature, where your fundamental right to go to a work or move from place A to B is adversely affected, minimum compensation should be given is 5 crores. Recover from the other agencies, now you will have 20 of them. There should have been 3 barricades. There should have been lights. Even an animal should not be able to pass through such a place. Unless you are talking of suing Google, none of the family member will go to the Supreme Court. That is the whole tragedy. Thank you very much.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. Let me go across to our next viewer calling us. Dr. Rakesh is calling us from Delhi. Go ahead.
Yeah, regarding this GPS, we cannot follow it regularly and blindly, because I was once traveling from Kumbhalgarh to Kevadia to see the Statue of Unity, and there also Google Map took me into a desert area where there was nothing. There was no lights, nothing, no villages, absolutely. And there Google was saying, go straight, go straight. And luckily I used my brain and came back all the way and then got onto the road. So we cannot trust Google blindly. You have to use your brain also. Even in Delhi, sometimes when you are using Google, it is not 100% correct.
Absolutely.
You have to use your common sense also.
Well, that's a very significant point that you're making. It's not about blindly following technology. Human instincts also need to be sharpened, as some of us have a tendency, and this includes me as well. Even if you know the way home, you'll still put your GPS on. You know the way, you still would rely on technology to guide you home. And this has also happened in the past, where GPS says you can go up straight, but there's no road ahead. What do you do in situations like this? Let me go across to one of our viewers, Purushottam, calling us from Chennai. Go ahead, Purushottam.
Yeah. Good evening, madam.
Good evening,
This is
Purushottam.
atrocious. We can't blame just Google alone. What is that local administration is doing? It is the primary responsibility of the local administration to cordon off such areas that it doesn't lead to some logical place. Do they not know that this road is leading to such havoc? How can they make the citizen go through that kind of a road? GPS comes only secondary. What is that local administration doing? They have to be held responsible. They should be called to pay for the compensation.
You're absolutely right.
Anyway.
You're absolutely right about that, and I think we all agree on that. Let me go across to Mohan, a viewer calling us from Chennai. Mohan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Mohan.
Yeah, actually, this is absolute carelessness on the part of the administration. They should put up signages warning of the broken bridge. Everybody was aware of the broken bridge. They should put very prominent signages all along the road. And this is absolute carelessness on the part of the administration.
Absolute callousness on the part of the administration. Also request